I came to WWE, I heard about the politics here. I heard the nightmares. I heard all about that stuff. About how Vince McMahon loves big guys, and they like the guys that they make themselves, regardless of whether or not those people can come out here and engage the WWE universe. I was a self-made man. I was not invented by the WWE machine, and I would think with them having stockholders and this being a profitable company that they would want a guy who makes them the most money, okay? They don't have the ability to judge by prejudice who they pick to be stars, okay? They need to pick guys who are the best people for this job, and the best person for this job is me.
I think this is fake.
You can't say that. I can see that.
Wrestling's not fake!
It's still real to me, damn it.
Unscripted, uncensored, loose cannon of commentary. This ain't WCW. This ain't Monday Night Raw. This ain't SmackDown. This ain't even WWE.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
The recognized symbol of excellence in sports entertainment.
You're listening to Marks on Commentary.
You're listening to Skid Marks on Commentary.
Marks on Commentary.
Get it right.
You're listening to Marks on Commentary. I'm Eddie Brophy.
I'm Jason Smith.
I'm Catherine.
Still fucking that up.
Yeah, watch me. Yeah. That's the one thing our listeners can rely on. They may not be able to rely on a good show, but they can always rely on us fucking up the intro. Without fail.
Yep.
Am I allowed to swear? Like, I got reamed by Catherine over this. Is it just a swear count that I'm on, or am I allowed to swear?
There's a difference between swearing and then being wildly inappropriate. Like, dropping a couple here and there in your normal, but going out of your way to curse someone out, I think is crossing the line.
It's like your average. It's your batting average. You can't have like a high well, you don't want a high batting average in this case.
I was just channeling the Warrior that night, okay? I was very amped up for the Warrior.
No, you were channeling my drunk Uncle Ted.
You have a drunk Uncle Ted? That's awesome.
It's like a TV show.
Technically not anymore.
Oh.
Why you to be the downer? God.
Oh, man.
Well, Catherine brings it down. This is Marks on Commentary, 978-276-9418, at MO Commentary on Twitter. We got SummerSlam coming up this Sunday for any of you that are... I'm actually more excited about this SummerSlam than I've been about any SummerSlam probably the past, like, God, I want to say almost 10 years now.
I think I'm more excited about this than I was WrestleMania.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I don't think I'm more excited about this one than I have in the last couple of pay-per-views, but definitely more than WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Well, let's get right down to it then. If you look at the card, should we do predictions first, or do you want to should we, like, segue into this? But
we still got to go through Raw, so we can kind of play off of what happened on Raw and vent it into SummerSlam. All
right, well, I mean, let's start off with this. Rob Van Dam will be on the pre-show. Rob Van Dam will be at SummerSlam. I mean, granted, it's the opening YouTube giveaway, but at least you get RVD and you get Dean Ambrose opening. You get him in SummerSlam in some capacity, even if it's not, say, where you would have liked them.
Yeah, it just seems really weird to me. They made this big deal about him coming back from Money in the Bank. And, you know, they've been doing this huge push for Dean Ambrose still, although it has petered a little bit. But, like, for them to take these two guys that they've been so far behind and then put them in the pre-show, I still haven't figured out what they're doing with this pre-show. Because they keep putting matches in the pre-show that you don't want in the pre-show. I mean, I know they're trying to pull people in, and they figure if it's a good, strong match in the pre-show, people will watch the actual pay-per-view. But... I mean, last pay-per-view, it was The Shield versus the Usos, and that ended up being one of the best matches of the night, which is impressive for me to say, because we know I hate the Usos. But more on that later.
It does actually, however, not to jump ahead, though, we had a caller earlier, it does kind of play into what he was asking. I mean, what's the deal with the Usos? They build them, they bury them, they build them, they bury them. And so for you to say that, because I know how much you hate the Usos.
Oh, we can play that message right now.
All right, let's play the voicemail.
Yo, Flex Luger, a.k.a. Here We Go Again, yo. what are they doing with the Usos? Like, they push them and then they drop them, then they bury them, and then the cycle happens all over again, man. Let me know.
Okay, here's my opinion on the Usos. I know I've kind of expressed it before. To me, the Usos are really, really boring. They're just boring. There's no character development, I guess. Like,
well, whose fault is that?
Is that they're the sons of other famous
wrestlers that Catherine doesn't know. It's Rikishi. They're the sons of Rikishi for two.
Did we lose her?
It's all right, because she was about to bag on the Usos. We don't need her.
Thank you to our caller for calling in. We encourage you guys to do that in the future.
I guarantee you, if you call in on this show in support of the Usos, Skype will drop Catherine's call midway through a rant about the Usos. That's just crappy behavior on her part. That's just Murphy's Law. You back on the Usos, you get dropped from the show. I'm waiting for her, obviously, to come back into this call, but that's one of those case scenarios where who do you blame? The Usos are creative. Whose fault is it really that they're not very interesting, or that, most of the superstars in the locker room aren't very interesting? That's creative. That's all creative in booking.
Yeah, I mean, but the problem is you don't give the characters depth or anything like that, but they, in a way, creative kind of is now if you include this Total Diva show where, is it Jey Uso, who's a very integral part of it? I don't know. Do you watch? I don't even know. I never even asked if you watched the show.
The thing was, I wanted to give it the old college try, if you will. Like, I wanted to give it a fair shot until I saw, I forget which Bella is dating John Cena, but it was when they were trying to recreate the kiss from the Notebook, and I can't do this. I absolutely cannot do this. And then I'm seeing, previews or teasers for, I don't know, Natalia and Tyson Kidd's relationship on the rocks and stuff. It's I really don't, none of that matters to me. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want the locker room stuff, I want the real locker room stuff. You know what I mean? I don't want them pandering for the E-Network cameras.
True. I mean, I get it being there. I don't love it, the show in itself, but I suppose if you're trying to play to a certain demographic, but ultimately I don't care if it exists or not. If it went off the air tomorrow, which it's not because it got picked up for a second season, it wouldn't bother me.
Oh, God. They actually picked that up for a second season? Why?
I believe, or an additional episodes. I don't know how they're framing it, but there's more of that coming.
Well, in the meantime, Eddie is trying diligently to get Catherine back in this call.
So we can talk more about the pre-show while we're at it and Rob Van Dam.
I kind of agree with what Catherine was saying, but then again, this is typical of WWE to make a big deal about a returning veteran or returning superstar. I mean, this has been an age-old thing. They've done this for years, where they bring someone back who's been either sidelined or out of, the picture for a while, and then they come back, and then slowly but surely their stars diminished by, a lack of booking or lack of creative input. So. I believe that was Catherine reaching out to us to get her back up. She's doing her emoticon is the sad emo kid hair puss.
Yeah.
Hey,
that's how I feel.
She's alive.
I've been thwarted.
You didn't miss anything.
We use the time to badmouth you and praise the Usos.
Damn it. They're just so boring. No amount of face paint can save them from boringness.
You know what's awesome is a Miz fan is putting down the Usos. So,
hey, do you know what? The Miz has lots of things going for him. The Usos, not so much. I know the Miz. I know the Miz is a douchebag. He has a character. His character is being a douchebag. What is the Usos' character? Nothing. The only thing they've done so far is successfully covered the Shield in face paint, so Dean Ambrose doesn't even wear his vest half of the time, because it's probably still covered in hot pink schmush from the match before.
Okay, here's the difference between the Miz and the Usos. They are actually still on pay-per-views, whereas Miz will be hosting SummerSlam.
Yeah, which means he'll get way more face time than the Usos will.
Catherine, you will not win this fight.
I don't give a shit.
You will not.
I will not give in. Never give up. Never surrender. I will not give in. I will not like the Usos, and I'll always love The Miz.
Are you quoting John Cena right now?
Do you know what?
Catherine's being a star. That's what Catherine's doing. She's being a star. Being a star. All right. What else are we covering from Raw? Because I got to be honest with you, with the exception of yet another CM Punk and Brock Lesnar debacle and Triple H being named the guest referee for the match between Bryan and Cena, there wasn't really all that much that grabbed me in.
There was the botched ending to the Divas match. Well, sorry, it wasn't a Divas match. It was a tag team match, even though the men never actually entered the match. It was just very weird. There was the weird botch ending, which he can complain on Twitter all he wants. To me, the ref should have just smoothed it over.
And if anyone knows about botches, it's a Miz fan.
Hey, shut your face. But then, so like only the women wrestled. Sorry, are we even allowed to call them women, or are they just divas? Because I'm confused.
Do we take out the women aspect of wrestling, or do we just strictly call them divas? Like, and the other thing, does the word diva even constitute wrestling, or is it just like they're there for FaceTime?
Well, they've already stripped the word wrestling from WWE, so.
That's not true. It's World Wrestling Entertainment. They stripped Federation.
It's sports entertainment.
Well,
yes, it's still in their title, but everything else, they're not allowed to call it wrestling. Everyone made a big deal because Daniel Bryan said that he was a wrestler, and John Cena isn't. He's a sports entertainer. They can't have it both ways.
You can't be a pimp and a prostitute, too, as we're learning.
Apparently the WWE can.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, too. I don't know. I don't want to skip too far ahead here, but the big conversation really is Daniel Bryan and John Cena. Now, does this... I'm on the fence because I really, really want to believe that I think we're seeing a changing of the guard. And I've said this before. I thought we had this with Punk, and then obviously Punk just seems a little wayward right now. He seems a little lost in the undertow right now. Like, that's my big question is, even though we got Punk, Brock Lesnar, which is going to be a huge match, where does Punk go from there?
I don't know.
Yeah.
If we had a sound effect, ladies and gentlemen, there would be crickets, because I believe that was both of my co-hosts literally just getting so fucking depressed at the prospect of Punk's future.
Well, because, I mean, every time we've talked about Punk, we've said, Punk should go on and face Brock, because that's the biggest thing in his career, is that, he's always kind of been a Paul Heyman guy, but he's always, he's never the Paul Heyman guy, because that's always been Brock. So once you pit Punk and Brock against each other, you're exactly right. Where do you go from there? And he's already done The Undertaker. He's already feuded with The Undertaker. He's feuded with John Cena. He's feuded with the Rainy. All these top guys that they have, he's already done those feuds. And if he were to go on and face a younger guy, I feel like he would end up... he'd end up putting a lot of people over, which would benefit some of the younger guys coming through. But I'm not sure it would benefit Punk in any way.
Well, you just answered your own question, too. Where does he go from there? And, this is one of the biggest matches. And they're having it at SummerSlam. They're having a WrestleMania match at SummerSlam. So that begs the question, where does he go come WrestleMania?
Right. Or does he even go to WrestleMania?
Well, his last goal is still the main event Mania. I don't say that's not in the card, but...
I don't know, but have you seen his
main event WrestleMania with?
I don't know. Have you seen his latest Comic-Con Q&A he did? Because he basically lays it out where he's like, there's 4 guys in my mind that I could have a WrestleMania caliber match with. Undertaker, he says I could do another one with him. John Cena, who it should have been this year, he said. Daniel Bryan, and then obviously Stone Cold. So that's who he thinks in his mind, and I kind of go towards those 4 people as who it's going to be.
Yeah.
I would say at this stage, because they are essentially the Triple H, Rock, or the HBK, Shawn Michaels of our generation, I would say that if you're going to send Punk and Cena out, because, that's the other thing, too. And I don't want to jump too far ahead, but whatever. It's rumored that at Night of Champions, it's going to be Orton and Bryan for the WWE title, which means that it's not going to be Cena who's walking out of SummerSlam with the belt.
Well, I know
Now-
they said it's rumored he's going to be taking time off after SummerSlam.
Well, okay, well, can a guy like Cena take time off? That's the other big thing. When you're the golden boy, when you're the Superman of pro wrestling, can you take time off? Because you're the number one guy everybody wants to see get knocked out. Jay and I did an entire segment where we said we want to see Cena get knocked out. We want to see him injured.
Right.
You know?
Now we got that.
Yeah. I mean, when everything was at the height of, kind of the summer of Punk, there was that one pay-per-view John Cena wasn't even in, and Punk headline. I can't remember which one it is.
It was
TLC.
TLC. Because
TLC.
The main event was Del Rio and Miz, I believe, in the ladder match.
Right.
Yep.
And so, they were able to hold their own without Cena, but I think everybody in the company was in a different place then. Punk was in a different place. Even, the World Heavyweight title was in a much different place. It was a more predominant belt. Right now, it's been kind of buried. Because, I'm sorry, does anybody care about Del Rio Christian?
Well, at the time, did anybody really care about Henry and Big Show, because that was the one of two main events at that pay-per-view. But the difference was, even if we weren't interested in the match, I think we were interested in the fact that Mark Henry was holding it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. If the belt doesn't matter, what matters is the person who's holding it. Right now, it doesn't matter that Del Rio's holding it.
Right.
And I dare to ask the question, would it matter if, say, Christian held it walking into the thing? The problem is, as much as we all, the internet fans and genuine fans, we all love Christian, but the fact is, Christian is not Edge, and he'll never be Edge. And frankly, I don't even know what the big deal about Edge was. If you want my honest God opinion, I was never sold on Edge as a main eventer. And I know that's going to get me a lot of flack from wrestling fans, but I didn't even see Edge as a main eventer.
I'll go with you there. He was good. I don't know if he was great.
I'll disagree, because he's one of the reasons I watch wrestling. He was one of the people that we all know I got in late to the game. And when I started watching, Edge was one of the people that I watched for. So to me, I disagree, but I understand what you're saying about it. Even though we really love him and I would watch matches for him, I don't think there's enough people that really said, I'm going to watch that match or that pay-per-view just because Edge is in it. Whereas people will go out of their way to watch things if John Cena's in it.
It's interesting to note, though, that you'd say that, because Jay and I have been following Edge from the time he came in on his own, and then, the time Christian showed up at Breakdown, and the time they became the Brood until now. When you come in and Edge is already kind of built to, all right, we're going to give him his due as holding the WWE title, and his valet's got to be Lita and this and that. You know what I mean? It's a different kind of context. Whereas Jay and I can go back and be like, he was a great tag champion, and he was an okay Intercontinental champion, but as a WWE champion, there were so many other guys in that line. Jay, I'm sure you can agree with me. There were so many other guys in line that I would have seen go ahead of Edge.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And I've gone back and I've watched all his older matches, but it's in a completely different context than when you guys watched them. So I totally understand what you're saying. But, getting slightly back on topic, I just don't think that the rest of the card is where it would need to be to support the company without John Cena. A couple of months ago, maybe. But right now, I'm not entirely sure that they can pull it off. I don't have a vested interest in anybody right now. The same way that I did a couple of months ago when it comes to the titles and stuff.
I gotta go, if we're on the topic of the World Heavyweight Champion, then no. That's why I think, what would it hurt to put an Ambrose or to put even RVD? You want to get some vested interest back in that belt? Make one title kind of like the Veterans title, and then make the WWE title the Young Guys title.
Yeah.
If we're still on board with keeping two titles, which I still think is the biggest mistake this company's making, why not make one for the older guys and one for the younger guys? If Orton's going to chase after titles, have him keep going after the World Heavyweight. Keep his ass away from my WWE title.
Yeah, but I can also see the value in, occasionally putting it on somebody like CM Punk, and he holds it for 6 months, and you rebuild that, and Punk does a pay-per-view main event all by himself. Not by himself, but no John Cena, and you build that belt back up, And yeah, you want to promote the WWE title as its own, as the top prize, but you still need to kind of
All right,
juggle
well, no,
this other one over here.
I'll give you that because I remember the pay-per-view where Triple H, now was it Cyber Sunday or Taboo Tuesday where Triple H, he had won the WWE title, and in the same pay-per-view, he dropped it to Randy Orton.
Yeah.
And in that few, hours, like few hours or a few minutes of when Triple H held the title, I was actually excited that he was holding the WWE title again. But I thought it was smart that in the same breath, they had him drop it to the younger guy, which at the time was Randy Orton.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I will say in the matter of the World Heavyweight title, I agree that the belt doesn't make the champion makes the belt. And I think in this case, really, Del Rio is just not the champion I want.
Right. The only amusing thing about Del Rio has always been Ricardo Rodriguez. And unless they're gonna have a feud moving forward with Ricardo, I feel like Del Rio is gonna keep dropping down. And Ricardo can't go for the belt, so I feel like he needs to drop it.
Well, see, that's the thing. If they have Ricardo go for the belt, as amusing and as holy crap, I can't believe they did this, it'd be no different than if they actually had Santino win the Rumble.
Right.
Hear that Del Rio threw him out.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I was marking the fuck out, hoping Santino would win it because it would just be ridiculous.
Yeah. There's that oh my god, they actually did it moment, but then you're like, well, that's crap.
Exactly. If Santino had actually pulled it off, at the time I would have been excited, but come Monday Night Raw, I would have been like, wow, that's such crap.
Your main event is Santino.
Yeah.
To me, that's kind of how I felt when Christian took the title right after Edge retired. And to me, it was perfect that he got the title and immediately lost it. Because it was like, yay, he got the title. Wow, I'm really sad Christian has the title. Well, we'll take that off of him.
Well, you know what worked about that, though? Was that Randy Orton got the title. He was what they call a, what's the word?
Transitional champion?
It was a transition, thank you. And Edge, I remember that was another kind of Edge nod because Edge had that. And Edge had said on a Raw, I'm not going to be a transitional champion. I refuse. What I thought was cool about that was that the fans were so pissed that Orton actually came out on Twitter and was fighting with fans about it. And it actually made you more interested in their matches going forward.
Right.
Hence the low blow from, I forget how that match. Was it the low blow? Did Orton give the low blow to Christian or did he give it to Orton? I'm trying to remember now.
I don't remember.
Somebody spit on somebody. I think it was Christian spit on Orton. Orton low blow to Christian and he lost the title.
That's right. That sounds right.
Yeah, I'm trying to jog my memory on that
They
one.
had 4 or 5 matches in a row that all ended in weird ways, and they all blend together.
Well, yeah, that's true. They could have just as well had one match, and it would have summed it all up. But again, the fans' investment in it because of the backstage politics actually did work for both. And honestly, I think that's the only reason anyone cared about Christian was because of the backstage politics.
Right. And I will say, when Christian had the title last time, and then he lost it, he then went around for 3 months going, I want one more match! And he was obnoxious, and everybody wanted him to go away. And then he did because he was injured. He came back, and I was excited he was back, and now he's doing the stupid, I want one more match thing. I just want to, muzzle him and just be like, shut up.
I kind of think he's done. I kind of think this is his swan song,
Well, after the package they premiered, or debut, whatever you want to say, after the package they aired, I think this could be Christian's last run.
You're either doing it for the reasons of he's walking away or he's doing a heel turn at the end of it, playing off that, which I think is highly unlikely.
It's highly unlikely because they just did that with Mark Henry.
True, but it's also, he wasn't a heel not too long ago. It's not that hard to make him a heel again. He came back after a return. All you have to do, if you're returning, is just hit somebody in the face, whatever. Doesn't matter. He's a heel at that point, but...
He just isn't any good at playing a heel. He just isn't that good at playing a face, either.
I think he gets the belt at SummerSlam, and Sandow cashes in right after it, or the next night.
I could see Sandow. This is how I see it going. I don't see Orton cashing in. I see Sandow cashing in.
I think both get cashed in. It's the question of after Monday night at 11:10 or whatever, both of them are cashed in at that point.
See, I really hope Sandow doesn't cash in, because I have absolutely loved the Sandow Cody Rhodes feud, and yes, they continued in into maybe title matches, but I'm really interested in seeing what they do at the pay-per-view and then how they move forward from it. So I kind of hope they hold off on that a little bit because it's been going so well, and I want to see where it leads to.
Okay, but here's the other possibility too, is that Sandow cashes in and Rhodes costs him the match, making him the second person to cash in and not win.
But then neither one of them would end up with the title, and they'd be back where they were 2-3 months ago, where all of us were screaming, no, do something with them.
Unless you put them in a triple threat scenario with Del Rio.
Or you even go this route. You have the Christian and Del Rio match. Christian wins. Sandow comes out, wins the title. Then you have the Cody Rhodes match, and it's for the title. And you go either way with that.
I'm not going to scoff at that because we have been seeing a lot of World Heavyweight Championship matches opening the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So that's
it's
I'm going to go with
an idea. I'm not sure it's my favorite idea, but it's definitely an idea. I would, as long as at the end of everything, one of them ends up with a title, I think I will be happy. As long as they take the other one, like, kind of to higher status with them.
Yeah.
No, I agree with Catherine, though. It's not the best idea, but it is an idea. And I will say that Catherine and Jason are tied now for being the Nostradamus of WWE.
Yeah.
So we're beating out that March on Commentary co-hosts are beating out that guy on Reddit right now, who may or may not have history leaks, but god damn it, we're actual fans, and we're just trying to call it as we see it.
Yep. I've been off my game the last pay-per-view, and Jason since then has been, like, right on, so.
I'm still holding out for Celtic Broskies. That's still, I won't let that go. I will never let that go. And literally, that's like the Cody Rhodes Goldust thing. I will not let go of Celtic Broskies.
I was disappointed we didn't get any fan art. Somebody please draw Eddie a Celtic Broski, like either a cartoon or a logo or something.
Here's the deal. I'm gonna make a hollow promise here. If you make a caricature of Celtic Broskies, I may or may not get it framed and try to replace it with a signed autograph at the Kowloon.
Back to this again.
A copy of it, because you're going to want a copy of it, too.
Oh, I'm going to hang it right up in my room. Who are you kidding?
If you get a copy of something, I want a copy, too. Was my idea.
I'm sure it's going to be like a JPEG file if it's anything. Catherine, get into that. All right, take your little feather pen there and join us in modern society.
Do you know what? I like my quill and my parchment. Away with thee.
And her powder wig. Are you biting your thumb at me? Is that what you're doing right now?
No, I'm trying to breathe because I'm laughing.
Catherine bites her thumb at me. Well, so now, Kane versus Bray Wyatt. Again, I don't want to spend much on this, but Jason was the Nostradamus of WWE.
Yeah,
Jason,
good call.
I tried.
In terms of the match itself, what are you guys hoping to see, and what are you hoping to have moving forward?
Somebody get caught on fire.
Right, that's not going to happen now. I mean, we know Kane is supposedly leaving, or he's at least doing a movie. Randy Orton did his movie without actually leaving. I think Kane's too old and tired to do that.
all right, can I throw you a scenario that I had on Monday Night Raw? Not
Sure.
this one, a few Mondays ago. When Bray beat down Kane and he was tugging him by the hair, I had a thought. I had a dream.
The wig off?
Yes. Pulling the mask and the wig off, revealing Kane as just a normal guy. If you end this match with the ultimate, and they even on WWE.com, they had the picture of, Bray Wyatt with the mask, but it was the mask with the hair attached to it. It's not a secret anyway that Kane's wearing a wig. Why not? If Kane's going to do one last run, why not pull the wig off with the mask, reveal that Kane's like a 40, 50-year-old like Republican, or whatever he is politically, and have him come back. Yeah, have him come back as like a JBL type character, as like a political analysis.
I don't know, you just made me think, like, what if they somehow symbolize the match ending or something with Bray Wyatt taking the goat or the lamb mask and putting it on Kane?
I would much rather see a middle-aged Kane losing his wig and his mask, thank you very much. So he can join JBL at commentary. JBL can talk finances, Kane can talk politics.
But then we'd have to have Kane on commentary, and I don't want that.
This is right up there with everyone hating my idea of Ultimate Warrior being a manager or
AJ in the Hall of Fame.
in the Hall of Fame. You know what?
Here's the thing. I'm not opposed to the idea of Kane, like, having his mask and wig taken off because it'd be hilarious. But I am opposed to the idea of him on commentary because no,
You know what?
just no.
You know what, Jay? Put this on TV track. See how many more people hate us because of it. Here's
These
the
stupid marks, they think that they should take Kane's wig off.
If they take his wig off, does that mean we have to take his eyebrows with? Hand braid the clippers.
My favorite is when he gets all sweaty during promos and the red, like, eye makeup just drips down his face. I'm like, aw. Between him and the Usos, you would think somebody would create, like, waterproof / smudge-proof face makeup.
Don't they have waterproof mascara? Why are we not?
Why, yes, they do.
Why
Like,
I
maybe
know
they
this
should
is
invent some more.
Why this is beyond? Why I know this is beyond me? But
say.
Shut up, Jason.
And he likes wearing women's clothing in his spare time.
He's Batman.
It's true. I'm not Bat. I'm
He's
Bat.
Batgirl.
Oh, be nice.
He's the physique to be Batgirl.
Aw.
I totally do, and I'd be a hell of a Batgirl. I'd totally be half the Batgirl that fucking Alicia Silverstone was. She couldn't even fit into a Batgirl costume. Oh, there's a little trivia for it. They had to get a stunt double because Alicia Silverstone couldn't lay off the French fries and she couldn't fit into her Batgirl outfit.
I heard that one.
You just need to borrow Cameron's breast implant she's playing with next episode of Total Divas.
Oh, perfect segue.
Why, thank you. I thought so.
No. Have you guys heard how she's fucking around? Like, not fucking around, but like getting into it with Sid?
I heard that there was something going on, but I didn't actually see what it was.
Oh, it's fucking genius. Sid's basically saying online, he's like, I don't know what this Cameron girl's doing online in WWE or anything. She won't be anything in 2 years. And then she responds, be like, yeah, you don't know who I am because you don't know the history of the business. This is the fucking chick who said on Tough Enough that the best match she ever saw was Alicia Fox versus Melina.
Wow.
You know what makes me mad? I remember Jason snarking the shit out of me on Facebook because I said, oh yeah, well, good for her. We'll never see her on WWE TV again. And then she happened to be on Raw, and Jason's like, well, she's on Raw right now. That's not what I meant, you ass. And then sure enough, here she is.
Oh, goodness.
Yep, I hate you, Jason.
I hope this feud online continues. Because it is like the odd couple of name two people that you think would never ever speak to one another.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to take a second to speak about Cameron a little bit. Because I don't know, have you guys been watching Total Divas?
A
Did you
little
watch
bit.
the last episode?
A little bit.
Can I just say Cameron has no shame at all whatsoever? I'm not entirely sure it's because she's just like one of those people that has no shame, or if she is legitimately dumb. But the things that she says and does are so, like, mind-numbingly horrible. And I know Total Divas is scripted, but did they... I just want to know, because you guys didn't see it. They're like, the last episode is called Tons of Funk is All Funked Up. Because it's something they said in reaction to Cameron announcing to the women's locker room that she had, like, some sort of bronchitis. So they put her on antibiotics, and apparently she then ended up with a UTI and a yeast infection.
I saw that.
Yeah, and so she's like just talking about her yeast infection, and everybody's like, what? So I'm sorry, but it's hard to believe that was scripted. I think that is just her being stupid and having no shame.
She's fucking dumb. Like, and then she's a fucking child though. Cause did you see the part where she's yelling at the seamstress or whatever?
Yeah, no, I've seen all of it. I'm a girl and I love wrestling, so Total Divas is like amazing.
And to bring this back to normal listeners, YouTube just discussed Total Divas like two bitches just discussed, like, I don't know, Laguna Beach or some soap opera.
No, sorry.
Hey, what? Okay, Batgirl, I am actually female, therefore I am allowed to watch Total Divas all I want. And the reason I started watching it is because my dad watched it first and got mad at me because he couldn't talk to me about it until I watched it.
Okay, then I'm going to throw this to Jason. You are engaged, my friend. Of the two men on this show, again, the name of the show is Two Virgins, One Dyke. Of the two virgins on this show, you're actually engaged. God damn it, when I have to be the real man of this show, we're all in trouble.
Okay, my dad watches it, my brother watches it, my best friend who is male watches it. Like, it is, like, it's absolutely dreadful. It's complete trash.
Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, like, it's like a train wreck or a car accident. You can't look away. And then they give you the teaser for the next episode, and you're like, well, clearly I can't miss it.
Now,
Next week, Natalia does walk around in her underwear, so...
Yeah.
I am going to try and be relevant here with a pop culture reference. Now, when I hear Jason waxing rhapsodic about Total Divas with Catherine, I can't help but think of the Breakfast Club. If Andrew gets up, we'll all get up. It'll be anarchy. That's how I feel about Jason talking to Catherine about Total Divas.
I love that we referenced Breakfast Club. All right.
Now on
Is that
Netflix.
everything that we want to talk about? No. Going back to the Wyatt family, apparently we also want to talk about the fall of the Shield.
The Shield.
I mean, it's weird because like they've fallen, but they haven't fallen. Like they've fallen, but I don't think they're like to that I can't get back up stage.
They're not quite.
They're not a little old lady who's fallen in the middle of the day home alone. They stumbled a little.
I'm gonna equate the getting over analogy with Zack Ryder trying to climb over a fence and say we're not quite at the struggling Zack Ryder phase as much as we're just kind of at the we're not quite sure what to do with these guys phase,
Right.
which is the perfect opportunity for Dean Ambrose to shine with RVD at the pre-show and get him the hell away from the Shield.
Here's
Exactly.
I was just gonna say, I think the downfall of the Shield right now, and I think what's gonna end up getting the Wyatt family as well, is that all the other tag teams have dissolved. Like, there's primetime players, which we'll get to later, but as a wrestling duo, they job to everyone. 3MB jobs to everyone. There are no legitimate tag teams left other than the Usos. And
Now-
I'm sorry, they're not a legitimate tag team. And then the fact that we have two strong 3-person stables that are both heel groups, and there's not a single face group to, like, go up against them, whether it be a super group or whether it be just a normal stable, I think it leaves them in this limbo land of that you don't know what to do with them.
This is where I interject and I say this is the perfect opportunity for Celtic Broskies enter the tag team circuit with Ultimate Warrior as their manager. I tie it all together. I am now the new Nostradamus of Marks on commentary. Bam, book it, sell it, t-shirts.
I wish it was
The ultimate Celtic broskies.
even if 3MB, which we know I love and we've discussed them before, even if they became a group of good guys, they went babyface, even if they just jobbed to them as good guys, it would give them something to do to hold them off until they can get someone else built up.
Well, okay, well, we're keeping out of the fact that we got Tyson Kidd, who eventually is going to come back from injury.
Eventually. But, I mean, somebody said September, and he was like, yeah, September's not happening. I mean, they can't just keep waiting for Tyson Kidd to come back.
I just think he'd be one of the perfect candidates for this, though. I mean, him and fucking, Kofi.
And Justin Gabriel.
Justin Gabriel's another one.
Because Justin Gabriel and Tyson Kidd are tag team partners.
I think if you pair those three together, though, there's your stable, right? There's your face stable.
Right. But the problem is Tyson Kidd's not coming back in the near future.
I want to say Evan Bourne, but I don't even know if he's still in the company. Like,
I mean, he is. He started coming back. He was at a couple of NXT matches, and then he just disappeared again. I don't think he got released.
I don't think they can keep him off the spikes is his issue.
Yeah.
And what's our true steal? Can we just future endeavor him already?
I
There's
don't know.
not
He's
much value in him anymore.
Yeah. And he's like a weird in-between right now, where he doesn't always just, like, he jobs to everybody, but they still let him do his full rap intro. It's like, we at least Kurt Hawkins him where he doesn't get the intro?
Get the half intro where you're standing out there
Yeah.
and the music's already playing.
Right. I mean, can we bring back Kurt Hawkins?
Why do we have to bring him back? Why hasn't he been in the picture from the beginning? Like, he's one of the better wrestlers that they had. Like, this was the guy that trained with The Rock when The Rock was coming back to face Cena for the first time. Why is he not? If he's good enough to train with The Rock, why is he not on television?
Wasn't Curtis Axel the one who did it the second time?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was one of the reasons he got moved up to the main roster. So why didn't they do anything with Kurt Hawkins?
There's always a political move that we don't know about, so.
It just seems weird that we have these wrestlers that are kind of floating around at the bottom that apparently JTG is still part of the company. Like, Ted DiBiase's floating around somewhere. Like, why can't we just rope these people together and put them in matches, or make some tag teams or a trio to go up against people, even if they're still jobbing? Like, it's just a different face instead of seeing the same 10 over and over again.
Can we get t-shirts, man, that said I'm a Kurt Hawkins guy? Because I feel like that would be brilliant at this stage.
But can I get a JTG shirt? I couldn't, like, when they did the lumberjack match leading up to the big lumberjack match at the pay-per-view, like, and he came out and I was like, who the hell is that? Oh my god, it's JTG. Like, did anyone even know he was still in the company?
Nope.
Is he the Kramer of WWE? Does he just show up with the briefcase with the saltines in it and nobody asks any questions?
I mean, they released Shad, like, what, 5 years ago? Like, why is JTG still around?
Well, there is now, I'm curious, since we're on this topic, and it's probably a terrible segue, but Darren Young has come out. He's officially, and I kind of resent the fact that they say he's the first openly gay pro wrestler, because Orlando Bloom came out. I mean, granted, he came out after his...
You mean Jordan?
Yeah, Orlando Bloom was legless.
Wow. Yes, Orlando Jordan. Shut up, wrestling fans. Shut up, Mark, on commentary.
Coming soon to TV tracks. Orlando Bloom.
TMZ's gonna back that one up. Some asshole messaged that Orlando Bloom came out. Well, you saw Lord of the Rings. I mean, come on, who are you fooling? I've officially provoked. I am retiring from producing this show. Let the wrestling man talk, Eddie. Shut up and have your bourbon. Orlando Jordan, thank you, Mark. Well, that's all for Mark's commentary. I'm Eddie from me.
I can't breathe.
Awesome.
Just had this vision of, like, Legolas versus John Cena.
Oh, but honestly though, I think that's super cool that Darren Young did come out, and I think it's cool. I mean, obviously, it makes the company look good with the Be a Star program, the fact that they're all backing him. But why wouldn't they?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's like anybody's gonna come out and say something.
Right, but I think there were some people who came out and said things that didn't necessarily have to. I like. Clearly, I follow everybody on Twitter because I'm a stalker like that. And, like, I think the nicest thing was for Titus O'Neil to come out and say something.
Yeah.
Because he didn't have to, but the fact that he came out and he's like, you know, Darren Young's, like, one of my best friends, you know, he's part of my family, my kids love him, my wife loves him, like, he's family and he always will be. I thought, like, that was, like, the most important part, because he could have easily been like, yeah, we're like, Primetime Players is gone, like, but...
Well, at the same time, he also posted a picture of them outside of the ring with his kids. I mean, it gives you a whole different kind of depth to their friendship.
Yeah.
And you got to imagine, too, this is no different than being an NFL player who comes out as being openly gay. I mean, that locker room, there's a lot of testosterone, there's a lot of politics. To be
I mean,
an openly
honestly,
gay
I
man.
would have thought someone from wrestling coming out would have happened after the NFL, just based on the knowledge of how conservative McMahons are, because I mean that's been an issue in the past where things have kind of had to be, you know, more conservative, and things have kind of been smoothed over that they didn't want people to know because of Senate races and stuff. So for them to come out and support him and not, I guess, shove him in the closet is the right thing to say, or the wrong thing to say, I think was very good. And then I was happy with the way that they handled it, because it wasn't like he scheduled an interview to come out and say something. He just kind of said it.
Now, do they try and capitalize on this? Like, because I think...
That's my question, is do they try to, like, mold that into his character now?
Yeah.
I don't think
it's...
but they can.
I don't think it's the right move. Not ethically, I mean. Not in terms... No, because it's like, oh, we have our gay wrestler. Look at him. You know what I mean? Like, don't put it on display as, you know,
Can I perfect here, because this does bring up something that I thought this is the perfect opportunity to ask about it. Chuck and Billy.
Yeah.
When they were engaged to, you know, kind of solidified themselves as a tag team. It was a great opportunity and a fantastic PR move on WWE's behalf, and they completely botched the hell out of it.
Oh, yeah.
And they totally backtracked, too, because even, I remember that whole segment on SmackDown when, what was it, 3-minute warning, 5-minute warning, whatever the fuck they were called.
Yeah, that's it.
When they came out and, you know, the preacher or the Justice of the Peace was really Eric Bischoff in makeup. And you had Billy saying, oh, not that there's anything wrong with that. Like, they totally, and even gay rights activists were totally behind it and thought this is like the right move for pro wrestling to make.
Yeah.
Because it's one of the last sports where it's okay to be homophobic.
Right.
And I think that's going to raise a lot of questions, especially with our listeners, and especially if it's for TV tracks, because the one big word that comes out about me and Jason is homos. Listen to those fags. They don't know. You know what I mean? Like, shut up. You watch grown men roll around in tights. At this point, there's nothing more homoerotic than wrestling. So, shut up. Just shut up.
Yeah. In a lot of ways, I feel like the worst thing that they could do would be to change who he is on television. Because...
It doesn't make him any less masculine to be gay.
Right. And right, but part of, I mean, he has his whole gimmick now. His character, like, he has a character. I feel like if they... The problem with homosexuality on television is that on television everybody exaggerates everything so that it's bigger than what it is. And for him, or for any person to then play a gay character, they tend to go over the top, and then it becomes no longer an accurate representation of who he is or their lifestyle, and it turns into a bunch of stereotypes, which, you know, the gay community has been trying really hard to break.
Is it going to be more Rob Halford, or is it going to be more Will and Grace?
Right.
That's my thing. Like, Rob Halford's an openly gay man, but nobody says anything because he's the fucking lead singer Judas Priest. Like, he's in this badass metal band.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to play it up. I'm sure the record companies were like, yeah, don't play it up. Like, you're gay. Who cares? Just do what you do best. Like, that would be my advice to him. Just do what you do best. Dude. Who the fuck cares? Like,
but at the same time, he's playing Darren Young on television. Does Darren Young have to be gay? Or can Darren Young be, you know, one half of the primetime players? I mean, look at, like, Jim Parsons. He's openly gay in real life, but yet on The Big Bang Theory, he has a girlfriend. And does anyone yell him, oh, you're a bad gay man because you're not gay on television? No.
Not to get
But you know who he is as a human being, and you know who his character is.
Is Jim Parsons openly gay? Because I remember that was a question for a while. That was kind of ambiguous.
You know, he's openly gay.
Okay.
He was never in the closet about it, but it wasn't confirmed, and then he confirmed it in an interview 2 years ago.
I was going to say, because he's one of those gay men that it's like, you wouldn't even know it's the difference. Because it's just like, he's Jim fucking Parsons. Like, he's the nice Garden State, and he's fucking Sheldon on The Big Bang Theory.
Right, and it turns into, who cares? You know, he can be who he wants to be, and they can choose whether his character needs to echo his real lifestyle, or if he wants to continue playing the character, if that's what he's more comfortable with showing on television. I mean, that's their call, but...
I have to correct myself, he's not Sheldon on The Big Bang Theory. Sheldon is David from Roseanne. I'm batting 1,000 tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Very sorry, I'm getting my pop culture all triggered wrong.
Put the drink down.
Jim Parsons is Dr. Sheldon Cooper.
He's Sheldon Cooper. I haven't been watching the show that often. And Orlando Bloom, for the record, is not gay, despite playing that.
Just Legolas. There was some question about Legolas if you read the Very Secret Diaries of the Lord of the Rings, but that's another show.
No, do we even cover TNA this week, or do we just move on?
No, there's nothing going on. Okay, I haven't watched TNA at all, nor have I heard. Like, normally, if something good is going on TNA, I hear about it, and I haven't. So
now, Jason, a Twitter game. Who's in the car? Explain this.
Okay, I put this up on Twitter, and we got some reaction. I thought it's a funny game. You pick 4 people in a car, and then you pick a topic that they talk about. I don't know. Okay. It just makes for funny, unique scenarios.
Now, can this be past, present, future, or is it?
Can be dead, alive. Can be anybody. So, for example, I would put, I don't know, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, Chris Candido, and British Bulldog in a car. And the subject is Tammy Lynn Cinch.
Okay, so this makes sense that at Mid-Card Manifesto, I don't even feel good about this. Vince, Brett, Shawn, and Triple H talking about Owen, Philip, my soul. That's actually that's a great one, I think.
Yeah.
Vince, Brett, Shawn, and Triple H. not just talking about Owen, talking about good Owen ribs. That would be a good one. Because you got to imagine, of all the guys to get ribbed by Owen, it would probably be those guys.
Yeah.
Let's see, at J_Lee101, Cena, Ambrose, Hornswoggle, Mahal talking about achievements and skills throughout their wrestling career.
I love that.
That's kind of the range of wrestlers.
At TAxum3973, I think I got one. Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, Iron Sheik, and George Gamble Steel. One subject talked about is love. I don't know how I feel about that one.
I will say George Animal Steel is one of my dad's favorite wrestlers of all time, so that makes me laugh. But I'm not. Why are they talking about love?
At Dave the Heel, Big Boss Man, Earthquake, Big Daddy V, and Yokozuna. Subject Pilates.
That one's hilarious.
I love that.
At IMJ Walker, Virgil, Nails, King Kong Bunny, and Snitsky. Subject shaving nether regions before the match. Well, if you two have one, what do you guys got?
My come-to one was the Tammy Lynn Cinch one.
Oh, that's a good one.
But, I don't know.
That girl's been passed around more times than a bomb.
Yep. To those 4 guys.
Yep.
I don't know.
That's a real difficult one, honestly.
I guess you could put Stephanie, Macho Man,
Oh,
Vince, Triple H. Let's solve this shit. Topic you should know.
Oh man, but there's only 2 guys I know about this. Is Triple H, Xbox, China. That would just be awkward for everybody. And I saw that you got a fight on Twitter with someone because she's now teaching. What is she?
Okay, like, this can only be like a wrestler's world. And I was just reposting a story. It was basically, and this is an old thing, I guess China has quit the porn industry so she can move to Japan and teach English classes.
Well, she's trying to improve the literature section of her Wikipedia page.
That's crazy.
Hey, I honestly, if the talks are true, Hall of Fame 2014, DX gets inducted with China, I'm all for it. I still support China. I think she was definitely the catalyst for female empowerment in pro wrestling. I mean, you can bag on me all you want, because I am the guy that said AJ should go in the Hall of Fame, but I've always been a big China fan, no matter how bipolar and nuts she is. Okay, at Logan_Landers, if you all had a theme song, what would it be? I wanted to cover this first and foremost, because this is like my favorite question to be asked of all time.
So many good options.
I have mine. I'm already set in stone. I want to know Jason's, because Jason's the wild card here, and it's going to be something stupid.
It is something stupid.
Jason's the wild card? You don't know what I would pick.
Because I picked my backyard wrestling theme, which was circa 2001. It was Papa Roach and Last Resort.
Mind you, it's a song about suicide. Nothing gets the crowd amped like suicide.
That was my name.
Oh my god. It's just, Jason, go back to wrestling school. That's going to be Jason's first vlog episode. Eddie coerces Jason to go back to wrestling school. Just so I can be his manager. Just so Piranha Man can be his manager. I want to get Jason's picture up in Kowloon. That is my goal right now with this show. That's the end game for the show. I want a framed picture of Jason in Kowloon. Now, Catherine, I want to hear yours.
So I'm a huge fan of like 80s music. So that's like, to me, that's late 70s to early 90s and all of the 80s. So for me, I kind of am in love with the beginning of Bat Outta Hell by Meatloaf.
Oh, you would be. Oh, come on. Oh, Catherine. That's
Yeah, it's so perfect for me.
Oh. And here I was going to give you the benefit of the doubt and say she won't pick a Who song because the Who suck.
No. I wouldn't pick the Who because I know that would annoy you. I mean, clearly runner-up would be anything by Guns N' Roses. But I just really love the intro to that song.
Now we got to be put to shame by the music aficionado.
Okay, now, I don't know if you guys can be able to hear this. I may have to have Jason put this in post, but...
It's just going to come out crackly. What is it?
Without a doubt. No, I don't care if it comes out crackly. I'm going to give it a shot, and if you can't hear it, then I'm going to explain it. This would be, hands down, Eddie's wrestling theme song. Pyrotechnics, smoke, everything. And I would have to have a painted face for this and tassels. Lots of tassels. For those of you that can't hear it because my computer quality is shit, Baltimore Tarzan Boy. Without a doubt, that would be the definitive Eddie Enters the Ring WrestleMania theme song.
Wow.
It's kind of epic.
As the person who chose a Meatloaf song, you should be ashamed.
Hey, it was a three-way tie between One Night in Bangkok by Murray Head, Down Under by Men at Work, and Tarzan Boy.
Down Under by Men at Work is an amazing option.
I'm not from Down Under though, so it wouldn't work for my character.
You could pretend.
I suppose I could always do, Toto's
Kingston
Africa.
isn't Jamaican, but that didn't stop him.
That's true. Very true. I love that question though. I could do that question for hours. That's
yeah. There's so many good choices.
Except for Jason.
Aww.
Yeah.
Come on, Jason. You had to resort to butt rock. What year are we in?
Yeah.
At least the 80s are making a comeback.
Yeah. And I most of the time I look like I belong in the 80s, so it would work for me.
It's true. I can actually confirm this.
Yeah. Eddie knows. I normally dress like I'm from the 80s.
As Jason has never actually met Catherine.
No.
Still not yet.
If you guys are bored tomorrow night in Lowell, there's a wrestling show.
Why are they always on Fridays? Like, I would love to go to an indie show with you, but you're always going to indie shows when I'm working.
I think I'm going to an indie show on Saturday in Connecticut.
In Connecticut.
Does it feature Mark Sherman?
No, Mark Sherman is actually going to be in Littleton, New Hampshire, and while he's in New Hampshire, I'm going to Connecticut. But I will see him tomorrow in Lowell.
We are now following, I'm sure, he is now following us, but I'm sure he's not listening to us.
That's okay. We can just pretend that the fact that he follows both the podcast and me personally. So we can just pretend that he's reading the things we tweet and is amused by them, even though I don't really think he reads all of his Twitter. I think he just retweets anything that has his name in it. And then, other than that, he just yells at Scotty Slade for being really emo.
If you want to appeal to him, appeal to his love of WWF in 1994.
This reminds me. I am on Twitter, @ThriftStoreSage. Join my team, as we will harass Jason on Twitter.
He's trying to take me down.
You should also follow me. I'm @VLNPLYR2. And
if you have to spell it, then you shouldn't be followed.
It's violin player without any vowels.
316.
420, the number 4, life. LYFE.
Show your face. I made it forever ago.
Well, it can't be
forever ago. Twitter's only came out in 2007.
I hate you.
Twitter wasn't around during AOL. If we were going with AOL screen names, mine would be Scrawny Tail Guy 69. Because I didn't realize what 69 or 420 meant until I was in high school.
I have used violin player as my username for everything since I first got a computer.
Since Friendster.
No, since MySpace.
Oh, yeah. I've been around since the AOL chat room stage when I go in and harass people because I thought it was cool.
Yeah, no, I used to do that too.
ASL?
No, I would just go into chat rooms, call everybody slap nuts, and think I was hysterical.
Age, sex, location.
Sorry.
I never understood that. When people would ask me that, it would confuse the shit out of me. This is also, I didn't understand what OMG meant. I used to use OMG in computer language because the first time it used to me, I thought it meant So whenever I got distressed, I would always write OMG, and it would just be like, yeah. It means, oh my god, I didn't realize that until I was almost 18.
Well, my brother does complain that the reason I'm probably so bad at using my computer is because I still play text-based games. So I'm a nerd. We'll leave it there.
So at Big Jim Sports Slam, who fills in top spots if Cena goes out for surgery? I feel like we already covered this, but I guess...
I mean, we talked about how no one would be able to support him, but I guess we could name names as to who we think should.
I already got a few. I got Ziggler, I got Bryan, I have Rhodes, I have Sandow, and...
Ambrose
and Punk.
Yeah.
Rollins?
No.
Not yet.
I feel like his wrestling skill is there, but he just doesn't have the charisma to like be better.
Okay, this one kind of confused me, but whatever. At Wolf_NEVAR, Nevar, not counting Rhodes, who's the idea starter feud for Sandow when he cashed in, considering the rematch clause will take effect?
What?
Right now, I can't see Sandow really feuding with anyone but Rhodes.
Right. I feel like that is going to go on. I feel like that needs to go on for a while. And then when it comes to its natural conclusion, then they can determine, who's going to get the feud with soon. But I feel like they're going to feud over the briefcase. There's going to finally be the briefcase belongs to Sandow, or the briefcase belongs to Cody Rhodes. One of them will get the title, and then they'll have to feud over the title. I feel...
Unless Sandow gets help from Goldust.
That would be amazing.
I am a believer. I will not let that go. I want Goldust back.
I don't know. Maybe you can do, if Sandow gets the belt at some point, you got to go Ziggler again. He's got to tag up with that belt again.
Unless they're moving him the other direction and moving him back towards the WWE title again.
I don't see that yet. I think
Right.
Bryan's the focus.
I think eventually Bryan Ziggler would be an amazing matchup.
Well, let's bring this to 978-276-9418 or at MO commentary. Get some actual feedback from the listeners and see what they think. Because we could sure as hell use it. I mean, I think the Twitter feedback has been phenomenal. I've seen our Facebook count even go up, even though we've kind of abandoned the Facebook a little bit because I feel like a majority of the discussion takes place on Twitter, hence why I now have a Twitter handle, even though I never used it.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that's the reflection of social media in general.
Yeah.
I think you use Facebook to talk to your close friends, and then some
Twitter
family.
is for releasing things out into the world and hoping you don't embarrass yourself.
Yeah.
Or
telling other podcasts to go fuck themselves.
This is why I'm glad I'm just new to the Twitter game, because I feel like I would have killed so many potential listeners from this show if I jumped in when the show initially started. Now that people are kind of, on board with what my personality is, like I'm that drunk uncle, as Catherine said, so they don't even pay attention to me. They don't get offended by me. I feel like they should friend me just simply for the antics.
Yeah. Like, we enjoy your company when you're sober, and then when you first get to the house, like the drunk uncle, but then as time gets on and you get drunker and drunker, you just kind of go into the, oh, it's okay, Eddie, it's okay, you're fine, don't worry.
And then you turn around, you're like, somebody call a cab.
Yeah, you're like and you start passing him around the family, like, it's your turn, you babysit for 10 minutes.
Why do I feel like that on two ends I should have a therapist and a sponsor with me when I record the show with you two? It's okay. Eddie's on his 5th day of sobriety. I'll tell you. Oh, never mind. Restart the count.
Oof, man.
Note to self, if ever indulged in actual alcoholism, don't reference Jay or Catherine as potential sponsors.
We would just bully you into not giving up.
And you can't quit alcohol. It's good for the show.
Oops.
Killing me. Meanwhile, I'm getting text messages from family members, but What else did we want to cover tonight before we wrap things up?
I actually wanted to go into Daniel Bryan and actually something real quick I was thinking.
Go for it.
All right. I kind of look at SummerSlam as an opportunity to tweak or adjust the Daniel Bryan character, because essentially I'm looking at this as like how you look, CM Punk in early 2011 wasn't the same CM Punk at the end of 2011. The second he walked out to Cult of Personality, he changed his whole gimmick. So I think you need to evolve the Daniel Bryan character, and I think Monday was a great glimpse into what that could be when he started talking to Cena about the Japanese tradition of smacking your opponent in the face and to pump them up. I thought that was a really cool way you could kind of segue into showcasing Daniel Bryan as the wrestler's wrestler.
Yeah.
So
I definitely agree with that.
So one of the things I thought, which would be an amazingly awesome moment for SummerSlam, and super cheap. All right, how much does a single shot of pyrotechnic at a WWE event go for? I don't know. Would I be fair in saying $100, $200?
Depends on where you're buying your fireworks.
Yeah. If we're on the WWE, if you're saying that we have the WWE expense account and the charge card to them, I would say that it's peanuts compared to the rest of the actual theatrical production budget.
But honestly, it's got to cost whatever, very...
You could go to Party City, I'm sure, and get something.
But my thing is, for one shot of pyro, you can go out and you can do something awesome. The Japanese tradition of throwing streamers at the start of the match to indicate, it's like a Japanese tradition. It's caught on in ROH at some points. I think that would be an amazing effect. Go out to some Party Express, go get, 2,000 rolls of, party streamers and have them throw it into the ring. It's a small thing in the grand scheme of everything, but I think that would just be an amazing little moment to showcase something's changing, Bryan has control of this audience, and we're going forth with him.
Now, can I actually do my own little rant here, because you got to do yours?
Yeah.
I was thinking about this because when you mentioned this, and it is relevant because the 20th anniversary of Nirvana's In Utero is going to come out by the end of the month, which I will be buying because that was their greatest album. It's only fitting to me that Daniel Bryan is from Aberdeen, Washington, where the late Kurt Cobain was from. I'm reading a lot of articles that are referring to Daniel Bryan as the reluctant champion or the accidental superstar, because to me that's exactly what Nirvana were. They were the punk rock answer to the sort of ostentatious, pompous, or pomp circumstance sort of bravado that was hair metal. Bear in mind that John Cena is the revival of the Hulk Hogan, Superman, living comic book character sort of scenario. I think it's kind of fitting of the times that you have someone, and they did sort of touch upon this in Total Divas, where John Cena lives in a mansion, Daniel Bryan lives in a modest house in Aberdeen, Washington. How cool would it be to have an average dude from Aberdeen, Washington as your champion, but he's also conflicted about the fact that he's not a suit and tie guy. He's not a corporate businessman. He's just very organic, very down-to-earth, very grassroots, traditional, professional wrestling. Wrestling to him is a way of life, and it's an art form. John Cena is your commercialized, kind of diluted, sort of dumbed-down version of what pro wrestling has become. I think it's fair, and I don't think it's too out there to say, and if this is what Jason contributes to TV Tracks, then fuck you, because I know you're going to shit all over me for saying this. Daniel Bryan is the Kurt Cobain of pro wrestling. He's the...
What you're saying is Daniel Bryan is Kurt Cobain, John Cena is Asia. The band.
No, I would say that John Cena is Poison, and Bryan is Nirvana. John Cena is the showman, or not even the showman, because there's nothing showman about him, but he's the company. He's the company with no substance. Whereas Daniel Bryan is the raw, uncorrupted talent that I think if they make him the company's guy, it'll kind of be like Eddie Guerrero in the sense that Eddie Guerrero was the perfect guy to put the belt on. However, I don't want to put all my eggs in that basket because John Cena knows that whatever, I can carry this company on a facade, whereas with Daniel Bryan, he's really the wrestler. Like, he's really the truest guy. He's the most organic form of this business. I think that in itself is such a great storyline between these two characters. It's between these two guys. One is more modest and the other's more ostentatious. The other's like, I make this money, I earn this money, I'm going to spend it how I want. Whereas Daniel Bryan, he's more stay true to your roots. I think that's like the best story we can ask for on pro wrestling right now is, as Jason said, the traditional streamer, and it's very Japan, it's very respectful. Like Daniel Bryan
traveled.
Yeah, it's Daniel Bryan's very respectful of the business, whereas John Cena is I am the business.
I thought the promo Monday night was genius between the two of them. I hate John Cena promos, and they very rarely give Daniel Bryan a mic. But the fact that they trusted the two of them to go out there, and to me, it felt a lot more realistic than anything the two of them have been doing.
The fact that John Cena even referenced the 5 moves of doom.
Oh yeah.
He was like, oh my god, he has a computer.
Right. Well, it was like they gave both guys a mic, and they kind of, to me, it felt like they said, don't go out there and do a promo. Go out there and duke it out and say what you're really feeling. Yeah. Is the way that it came across, because Daniel, it's like, clearly we only know Daniel Bryan as Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson if you know him from the Indies, but you know his character. We don't really know who he is in real life. We know little bits, but we don't know everything about him. But what he was saying felt very genuine. It felt very passionate. He didn't talk about, I want to be the top guy in the company. He talked about, I want to be a wrestler. And Cena talked about, I'm a wrestler, but I carry this company on my back. And it just felt so passionate and so organic that for the first time, like, I was kind of like, John Cena's a human being. And at the same time, I was going, yeah, Daniel Bryan, like, wanting to egg him on. And I thought it was a great promo leading into the pay-per-view.
Well,
and I think it did wonders for both of them, because they can build Daniel Bryan now back up from the crazy little goat man into, he is a wrestler.
But see, that's where I draw the comparison of, say, Nirvana or grunge music to...
No, I totally get it. I totally get what you're saying. I totally agree with you. That promo for me was just the icing on top of the cake.
No, I think that's what I mean, though. That's where that came from for me from that promo, was because they're both human beings. One is more invested in the traditionalist aspect of what the industry and what the sport means to him, whereas the other is that I don't have anything to prove to you. I don't have to be a pro wrestler because I am this company. I've proven to be a workhorse, and I've proven to be a viable commodity. Whereas Daniel Bryan says, I don't want to be a commodity. I just want to be a wrestler.
Yeah.
Holy fuck, like that in itself should get some buy rates for something, because there's nothing you can ask for more as a fan than genuine, brutal honesty from your performers.
Ironically,
submit anything to TV Track, submit that shit, because that's not like, oh, AJ goes to Hall of Fame. That's genuine wrestling fans saying that we saw a promo and it blew us the fuck away.
Definitely. I was shocked that, typical Cena, he goes into it and he digs somebody into a hole. Bryan pulled himself out. That to me is very telling of where he's able to go.
It reminded me a lot of Punk a couple of years ago, because I feel like Punk was kind of saying some of those few things. John Cena's on the top and he runs the company, whatever, he's the face. But, Punk wanted to be a wrestler and everything. But I feel like they brought it to a level that they never were able to achieve, because Punk is such kind of a character, whereas Daniel Bryan was kind of like, do not leave the character at the door. I'm going out there and I'm talking as myself.
I think it's the second coming of the genuine wrestler coming out to defend where they came from, because, again, that was Punk's whole thing. Punk's whole thing was, I'm a wrestler.
Right.
Also, I was the guy that this company signed on Buzz alone, and then they tried to get rid of me as soon as they signed me, whereas Bryan and Punk are it's a symbiotic relationship, because they come from the same sort of place where WWE signed them on some buzz and early on tried to squash them prematurely.
Yeah. Well, and more, Punk they wanted to bury him. They never wanted him to see the light of day. They actually fired Daniel Bryan twice, right?
Yeah.
So it was for Daniel Bryan, it's more than you just, they never wanted me to be on TV. They didn't want him to wrestle at all. They didn't want him to be part of their company at all.
Well, I think that's a good place mean, if you had me to 978-276-9418, at MO Commentary on Twitter. Leave us messages on Podomatic. I'd say vote for us on iTunes. I don't really know how much of this.
It's just rate and comment and do anything you can on iTunes.
Tweet us.
Yeah,
Tweet us a lot. We love tweets. I know Jason and I are on Twitter like 24/7. So anytime you message either one of us, I don't know how often Mr. Thrift Store Guru over there is on.
Thrift Store Stage.
I was so close.
Stage.
Stage. Hey, do you want? At least I didn't say Legolas was a wrestler.
Hey, before we tag out, like, I know we were on the subject of the world-traveled wrestler and music and everything like that, and I kind of posted the whole streamer idea online, and it got some buzz, and the other thing that people wanted to see was Daniel Bryan coming out the Final Countdown by Europe, which...
Why?
Because that was his ROH theme.
Was it?
Yeah. Which, if it happened...
If that happened, that would be such a crazy parallel, because we were just talking about how Daniel Bryan and Punk are very similar.
Exactly.
When Punk started coming out to Cult of Personality, that was his song for a long time in the indies. So it would be such a, oh my god, the weird parallels that are going on. Like, it makes me wonder, like, is it accidental, or is there someone at the WWE going, do you know what? We tried to do this the first time around. Let's perfect it this time.
Maybe. But my point is, excuse me.
Heyman.
It's Paul Heyman. But my point is that I kind of look at Bryan coming out that song "Flight of the Valkyries" is like an homage to like an age of wrestling that's kind of past. Like this big orchestra performed song, like how you had Macho Man come out to Pop in Circumstance and Ric Flair come out to 2001 Space Odyssey. So it's kind of like an homage to the days gone by, but it also is like now a remix, so it's kind of modern, and that kind of speaks volume of the wrestler, the real wrestler that CM Punk, I almost said CM Punk, Bryan Daniels or Daniel Bryan, excuse me.
Okay, can we actually have, if we go that route, can we have Daniel Bryan come out at this pay-per-view to Punk's version of Flight of the Valkyries? Daniel Bryan. Jason, if you can find that clip, please put that in this show.
You got it.
Well, 978-276-9418 at MO Commentary on Twitter. Again, I'm Eddie Brophy.
I'm Jason Smith.
I'm Catherine.
That is Marks on Commentary. I think that's a good place to end because we haven't incriminated ourselves yet.
Yay!
All right, folks.
Next time.
Good
Have
night.
a good one.